Good morning. Good morning, good morning. I'm very aware how uncomplimentary this lighting and angle are, but you know, I'm working with what I've got. Ooh. This is the first time I've spoken today, apart from ordering my coffee at Monmouth, which I love. And that's been the excitement of my day so far, but it is only early. It's like only 9:30 when I'm recording this. So I was doing my journaling today, as I do, and I just feel the need to point out I haven't been crying. I've got I'm in the city and I've got little country mouse eyes that are used to the country and the fresh air of the sea, and I've been in the city for half a day and my eyeballs are pollution. So yeah, I haven't been bubbly snot crying, even though it looks like it. That's a strong look. So I wanted to do a little bit of EFT with you guys today around something that I've been experiencing. So this is kind of a me tapping through what's been alive for me, but very much knowing that when I feel something in this particular way that I'm feeling this, it tends to be a collective energy as well that's present. So there'll be certain things where I know oh, this is me, and this is just very specific to my life. And then there are other times where I'm oh, this feels it almost feels I'm not in my body, but I'm experiencing the feeling. You know what? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Come on, work with me here. So if you are live or you're watching the replay, say hello, let me know how you're doing. And I would love to know a little bit about where you feel you're at with your energy at the moment. So, little insight. Oh my God, what's going on with my throat? A little insight into what is going on for me, with a view to hopefully helping you guys feel a bit seen and helping you go, oh, thank fuck, it's not just me. Over the last couple of weeks, I went from being very energized and, ooh, I'm burping even just talking about it. Going from very energized and feeling very creative and the juices were flowing to hitting a wall. It was almost there was so much momentum that I just kind of went smash into a wall. And it was around the time when I decided to launch the sacral sessions. And hey, Alice, nice to see you, lover. And the reason that I launched that program was because one of the biggest learnings that I took away from the last 6 to 8 months, maybe even longer, to be honest, is that if I'm not actually feeling connected to my life, and if I'm not feeling like I'm enjoying the process of living my life, it's very hard for me to maintain momentum, stay in a creative flow. It's tricky to even receive money because I don't feel particularly inspired to sell anything. And though I do believe that money can flow to me through, and in ways, it's many times I haven't been selling a specific thing and people have reached out to me and said, I need to work with you. How do I do it? And I'm like, oh, cool. Well, I have this offering, blah, blah, blah. And we can and it happens. But for some reason, it's there's sometimes I get this little shift that will occur inside of me where I can feel that I've almost completely built a wall internally around receiving anything. And I feel that the reason I do this is a protection thing. And again, I'm kind of speaking into this because I feel like I'm not the only person who does this. And I feel like maybe there's a collective energy around this right now. But what this means is that not only is it more difficult to receive money or receive, opportunities or receive life force energy into your body, it's more difficult to receive inspiration. So I think with the way that the world is right now, let's not fucking fanny about here. The world is fucked right now. I'm not gonna fucking try and spiritual bypass this shit. It's fucked up, man. What the fuck is happening? And I think that maybe what's been happening for the last like year and a half has had such a profound effect on my creativity and my willingness, in fact, to connect with life. And I've definitely, one of my gene keys is 41, and the shadow frequency of the 41st gene key is fantasy. So I'm very good at being able to create like a little imaginary world in my head, which doesn't mean that I'm not in reality. It just means it's really served me very well, is what I want to say about this gene key, is that it's been a great way of like dealing with the world and being able to like wake up each day and find some inspiration and do some things and work towards goals. And it's kind of kept me from actually absorbing consciously as much of the shit that's been going on as maybe some other people. So it's been a real blessing in that. But what I'm noticing, and what I noticed around 2 or 3 months ago, was that I'd almost slipped so far into this shadow frequency of fantasy that it was operating in a place of keeping me almost like protected in this little bubble. And the shadow of it is that kind of disconnection and like living into a fantasy. I'm going to be very clear about this because I want to make sure that you guys understand that I'm not saying that having imagination or being inspired or like consciously creating things with visualization or like staying connected to the goal and making decisions in an aligned fashion because you know this fucking thing's going to happen for you, like that's not the same. That's conscious creation, that's having faith, that's visioning, that's manifestation, you know, like that is the, like that's when it's operating in the light. That would be like the gift or the siddhi of this particular gene key. But when I'm living in the shadow frequency of the fantasy, I can create a whole world and it will feel very real to me. But what happens is I become so detached from maybe the real people in my life and the real situations that it's almost like a little kid that just like kind of sits in their little bubble and does their little thing. And that can be really good, but then also you kind of need them to like engage with things as well so that they know how to operate in society. To a certain extent. I'm not about brainwashing kids to just follow the fucking dogma of society, but you know, sometimes communities and relationships are really nice and it's just about finding the right ones and being available for them. But what happens is when I'm in that shadow frequency of the fantasy side of that gene key for too long, and if I'm not using it mindfully and with intention and enjoyment, like if I'm not gaining pleasure from living out that fantasy in my mind, what tends to happen is I can either use it and it will become a point of attraction to draw beautiful things into my life, which is like, yes, please. But the flip side of the coin in the shadow of it is just that complete detachment from reality. And that has led me to feeling very disconnected from my business. It's led me to feeling disconnected from people, from my creativity. And as a sacral being, as a manifesting generator with a sacral authority, I have a lot of active gates in my sacral as well in human design, for those of you who know anything about it. So like I'm really fucking sacral. And if I am not feeling like I've got creative juice running through me, I feel like I can slip into inertia and complacency. And that's a really difficult place for me to move from inertia to like inspiration or creativity. Feels like such a big jump. So I think what we're looking into today when we do this tapping is moving us from a place of inertia, complacency, maybe some paralyzed will. Maybe there's some freeze response happening right now because of all the stuff that's been happening in the world. Maybe some of us are actually experiencing like a part of us that's kind of frozen, because whenever, I know for certainly from a personal experience, whenever I felt to move forward over the last year and a half, and whenever we've kind of been gifted some freedom, dare I say, you know, like here's a crumb of freedom, you're welcome, thank you government, oh amen, all hail, you know, and then it gets taken away from us again. So I feel like there's been a lot of this push-pull, there's been a lot of I've certainly created like coping mechanisms within myself so that I just don't get so fucking angry that I go completely batshit crazy. And I know that might not be like very spiritual of me, but fuck it, I don't give a shit. Life is my spiritual practice and this is what I'm living right now. So let's just fucking go there. So I feel like we're going to take ourselves, with this tapping, we're going to take ourselves through whatever is present in the collective and using me as that channel, that conduit, and we're going to move through whatever we need to move through to come to a place of peace where we can actually receive inspiration and creativity. So is this resonating with you guys at all? I know there's a couple of you watching live. I don't know who it is, but if you could say hello and let me know, hello, g'day, and let me know if this is resonating with you at all, that would be awesome. And hey, even if it just ends up being a little show of me tapping on my shit, you can just tap along anyway, and you will start to feel things moving and get awarenesses around your own shit, even if it's completely unrelated. That is the magic of this tapping. To give you a little minute there, if you've got anything to say in the comments. Yeah, complacency is a difficult one for, certainly for people like me, with this, like, you know, sacred authority and the creative urge. When I don't feel that creativity and that connection to divine inspiration, I tend to feel quite disconnected from everything. It's like creativity is my way of connecting with the world. It's my way of feeding information through my channel, through my vessel, and it's almost like a filtration system. You know, like I receive information, it gets filtered through my system and it comes out as something else. It's like it's almost like a visual of like kind of silvery sparkly light coming in, and then it gets channeled through me and it comes out a different color. Like it comes out as rainbows, or it comes out as pinks or whatever, and it comes out in my unique flavor, which I feel is what creativity is. Like when artists come and work with me, oh, here we go, something's activating, this is good. So when people come work with me, particularly artists, and a lot of the artists who come and work with me will start with one style and then will end with something completely different and a lot more like free, because I work through this deconstructing process of all the beliefs that they have, because effectively what they've done is they've attached their creative, and we, like coaches, spiritual healers, teachers, anyone who is the vehicle for any wisdom or anything, like receiving and then putting things out into the world from yourself. If you're interpreting things in some way and channeling things in some way, it's really like a spanner I couldn't find. Oh, hey, Al. It's just when we are doing that, when that is part of like our purpose work or our mission in this world, to like create and put, like to receive, to filter information and put it out into the world, because that's what we do so naturally, and because it's what people tend to want from us, and because it's something that we enjoy usually, we'll then start doing that as our purpose work. And I was talking to my friend last night who is a teacher, like a teacher in an actual real life school, and she, you know, and I was saying to her, I feel like, yeah, there's just a lot. I'm definitely in a lull at the moment, like creative energy, which is really not me at all. Yeah, fully. I can tell that things are starting to activate, because as I'm going to say sentences, it's like my mind just goes blank. It's like I'll start talking about, like, speaking to my friend last night, and then I'm like, oh, I can't remember why I was telling that story. It's like it just peters off. It's like it's no longer me speaking. Something else needs to come through now. So we're just going to go ahead and do the tapping, and I'm just going to let it be what it is, because that really is, that feels emotional even saying that, actually. That's what creativity is. It's really about disconnecting. Oh, that's what I was going to say. That's why this is coming through. It's about disconnecting purpose work from money and trusting. And I know this is such a fucking cliche and people say it all the fucking time, but hopefully when you hear it today, you will hear it in a new way and it will land with you as a truth. when you commit to just enjoying your process and putting whatever it is that you are here to put out into the world, the money will come. When you start making your creativity about making money, that is when you will feel like you have to conform to a certain way of creating. Whether you're a coach, a healer, a fucking spiritual guide, whether you are an artist or a teacher, it doesn't fucking matter. If you create things and put content and things out into the world, if you are, in fact, even if you're not, even just as a human who has conversations, if you feel that you have to run everything through some kind of fucking filter to make it like acceptable and understandable for people, it stunts your creativity and it creates a block in your energetic system. And it means that usually you're misunderstood or you're misheard and you're misrepresenting yourself because you're not really allowing the full flow and the full flurry of the information to come through. You're like putting it through a filter that isn't actually yours, right? So let's just take a moment now to drop into our bodies. I just want you to take a nice deep breath, and effectively what I posted in the group just before about being sick of fucking pimping out creativity. I feel like creativity is in itself, it's a currency. And I think people forget that what you are divinely inspired to create in this world, whether it's artwork or a coaching program or a child, whatever it is that you feel called to create in this world, needed to come through you. So your unique way of doing the thing that you are doing and receiving and transmitting that information or that thing out into the world, that is unique to you. Only you are fit for the job. And we get so caught up in, oh, but I haven't done it that way, and maybe I'm not good enough, and oh, but they did it that way, and oh, God, but when I try and do it that way, it doesn't seem to work. And it's like, yeah, of course it fucking doesn't work, because everyone is completely different. And we get sucked into this machine of, I have to sell my shit on the internet, or I have to share everything on the internet. And yeah, like, it's a great vehicle for doing that, for fucking sure. And the internet has made me a fuck ton of money, so I'm deeply fucking grateful for it. But what really made me the money was the creativity and allowing myself to get out of my own way and just create whatever wanted to come through me, putting a price tag on it, which is effectively just an energetic exchange, and then receiving that energetic exchange and delivering the transmission that only I can deliver, because there is only one me, right? And there is only one you. And I think we get so forced into following rules and this fucking homogenization. And I mean, even in the spiritual and artistic communities, I see it all the time. Spirituality and creativity should be two things that you cannot fucking homogenize because they are completely unique. Like creativity, you certainly wouldn't think of the word creativity or like artist and think, oh, right, okay, well, that means that they have to do still lifes, or that means that they do this and they charge that for it and it looks like this. It's like, no, creativity is in and of itself like an energetic, chaotic, beautiful fucking, it's a transmission. It's not like a thing. You are the conduit. You are the thing that brings that motherfucking piece of artwork or that coaching program or that child or whatever it is. You are the one who receives and then transmits that fucking thing into the world and brings it into life. You create it. So let's stop undermining our role in the magic that is happening, that we are putting out into the world, and let's start enjoying the process and stepping the fuck up and doing the things that we're meant to be doing in the world, right? So let's stop pimping out our creativity. Let's reconnect with the joy of creation and receiving and just being inspired. Like, let's reignite that sense of feeling inspired. Okay, so let's just see what comes through. If you've never tapped with me before, we're going to use this part of the hand here. Then we're going to use top of the head, hey Joe. Then we're going to use inner eyebrow, outside of the eye, under the nose, under the bottom lip, the collarbone, under the arm, like where your bra would be. And then we're either going to do this, or sometimes I might do this if I'm feeling cheeky, if I'm feeling a little bit saucy. So, hey Gabriella, hey Joe. So we're just going to take a nice deep breath. I would love it if you are able to have both of your feet flat on the floor just for this breath. Take a nice big breath into your belly. Let's just reactivate that sacral center. Whether or not you're a sacral authority, it doesn't matter. You do have a sacral. We all have them, whether they're defined or not. Just take a couple of nice big breaths. Get some energy moving. One more. Okay, let's see what comes through. Ugh. Even though I feel heavy and sick with inertia, I accept myself anyway. Even though I have consumed, consciously and unconsciously, subliminal messages and a lot of fucking propaganda, a lot of toxic media, a lot of toxic energy and opinions. And I've done a really good job at protecting myself. But I acknowledge now that in protecting myself, I may have shut myself off. But I am okay and I accept myself anyway. Even though there's so much stagnant energy in my body, I'm okay and I accept myself anyway. I'm sick of pimping out my creativity. Part of me just wants to fly around like a fairy child. Play in the woods with my fairy friends. A big part of me still feels like a child. Maybe that's okay. And maybe it's okay to give my inner child the reins sometimes when it comes to my creativity. And then maybe I can use my adult for other things. I don't need to protect myself as much as I thought I did. Because I haven't just been shutting out toxicity, I've been shutting out good stuff too. And over the last 18 months, I've done my best to remain expansive. To remain positive and be a voice of reason. To protect my energy and my vibration. But my conscious and unconscious efforts to protect myself are still based in a fear of my vulnerability. And they're still based in the idea that I'm not strong enough or good enough to handle what's happening in the world right now. And maybe I don't need to consume any more media. And maybe it's okay for me to detach sometimes. And maybe the most important thing always has been and always will be returning to knowing that my frequency cannot be fucked with. That I am powerful. that I'm creative, that I am sovereign. And I no longer have to shrink and hide from conversations that I don't want to be around. I give myself permission to just walk away. If I don't want to hold space for someone else's fear and panic anymore, if I don't want to have to constantly be the voice of reason making other people feel better, that doesn't make me a bad person. It makes me a wise person. And I trust that there are other people out there who think and feel as I do. And it's okay to allow those people into my life. And it's okay if sometimes I have a bit of a wobble. I give myself permission to open and transmit, to radiate my joyful energy out into the world. And I give myself permission to draw energy back in, like casting an energetic net out into the world. I must remember to radiate and to replenish, because I'm very good at throwing my energetic net out into the world, at spreading a message of hope and being an uplifter to other people. And I do enjoy it up to a point. But I must remember to draw that net back in, to reap some juicy rewards for all of my energetic resources, to replenish my resources. Because I'm not just here to uplift others. And what I've been doing thus far has worked up to a point. But it does leave me depleted more often than I would like. Other people feel better when they've engaged with me. But I often feel less energized. I often feel like I've given a piece of myself or my energy away. And I'll be honest and admit I'm not so great at replenishing as often as I should. Nobody needs me. And that's a good thing. Nobody needs anybody. And that's also okay. I get to spend time and energy with the people who choose to be with me and with whom I choose to be. Don't grammar check me on that. I just go with the words that are coming. So I need to remember to draw my net back in sometimes so that I don't have to cut myself off to protect myself. When I cast out my net and I draw it back in, I no longer feel depleted. And my energy continues to grow and multiply and radiate out. Okay, take a nice big breath with me. So it's quite interesting. Let me know in the comments what resonated, what moved, how you're feeling now, what like clarity or aha moments have come through. There was a real strong sense of people like us being very good at taking care of ourselves as long as it's almost like we want to give away so much. It's like, well, I have to take care of myself because I want to give away so much. And what dropped in for me when I was doing that was like, that's interesting. It's just like almost like casting out this fishing net into the ocean. And like, if you just cast a fishing net out into the ocean and then you just leave it there, you're going to catch some fish. And those little fuckers, they're going to die because they're going to get trapped and they're going to eventually just die in the net. And then you're just going to have a man-killed net full of like poor little dead fish that you can't eat because they've been out there. You've got to cast it out and you've got to draw it back in and receive the nourishment from what the seeds that you've sown. And I remember having a craniosacral session last year. And the lady who did it for me, she was like, oh, your energy is very expansive. She was like, but it doesn't seem to want to come back in. Like it just goes out and out and out. And she was like, it's like she spent the whole session just gently reminding my energy to go out and come back in and go out and come back in. So I think it is quite interesting for us lot that we do that. We kind of want to put all this energy out to the world and we forget to then receive it without thinking that, oh, now that I've received, I've got to give out again. It's like, no, what if instead of giving out twice as much as you receive, no battery. What if instead of giving out twice as much as you receive, you did the opposite? What if you received twice as much as you gave out? Right? What if every time you put out, I don't know what measuring tool to use. I don't know. What if every time I baked one croissant and gave it away, I received 2 back? You know? What if every time I put out something free, I got 3 people that wanted to pay me for something, or 10 people who wanted to pay me for something? So generally, that's how things work. We seem to think that we have to keep, and this is, I think, quite a symptom of like having an open will center in human design as well. This like almost like, and I'm putting more out and I put more out and I give out more energy and I make this person feel better about themselves and I go and do this thing for that person, and and it's like we're always so focused on like, how can I be of service and how can I be more valuable in the world? And I think it does actually come from a good place. It comes from genuinely loving and caring about people, which is beautiful. But let's not forget that it is incredibly important for us to maintain this physical vessel that we're in. Because if we truly believe that our output in the world is as valuable as we think it is, because we must think it's valuable if we want to keep giving it, right? We must think it has some fucking value. So if we're going to keep doing that, then don't we want to be around for longer? Don't we want to be alive for longer? Don't we want to have more to put out into the world? But I think some of us are so afraid of what happens when we receive, or like we have these perceived ideas of, if I receive more, then I have to give more. But what if it was the opposite way? What if it was the opposite way around? And this is what I want you to take away. Instead of, if you're feeling like you're pimping out your artwork or you're pimping out your energy or whatever it is in exchange for money or in exchange for love or whatever it is that you feel you're in an exchange war with right now, what if you just really sank into, because remember that we create our reality through our beliefs, and a belief is just a thought you keep thinking. So every time you start to think, oh, but if I do this, that means I then have to do this much work. What if you decided it was the other way around? For everything that I put out into the world, I receive at least twice back. And just try that on for size. And start to feel into, okay, if I really fully embody this as a truth, what would I do today? Where would I go? Who would I spend time with? If I know that whatever I put out into the world today, I receive back at least doubled, how would you operate differently? How would it feel in your body to know, to trust and have full faith that everything you give out today, you receive back twice? Yeah? So start to embody that. Thank you. That was beautiful. Let's just read these comments and see what we've got here. Hey, Sarah. Yeah. A lot of casting out and not much pulling back in. Good. I'm glad you love that shift. You're welcome. So if any of you feel to come and do more of this kind of work with me, reconnecting with creativity, reconnecting with actually finding the pleasure. And it's so interesting, actually, Sarah, that you say like that mindset shift or that, you know, that one tweak in perception around seeing something is so valuable, because what really fascinates me about the work that I've been doing lately is a lot of people have said to me like, yes, the energy work is amazing. Yes, you know, like they love all the energy work and they love all the coaching and they love all the things. So they were like, very often the thing that actually makes the biggest shift for them when we're doing the clearing work or just in conversation is the fact that they have these very set ideas about what they have to give up or what they have to move through, what it means to them if they receive something, like what it's actually going to mean for their life. And, you know, they've got these beliefs around things. It's actually very easy for me to see like where they're just holding a shit belief. And if they just change the fucking belief, then their whole life will change. And I'm getting a lot of feedback at the moment from people I've done sessions with very recently, just saying that thing that you said about seeing that a different way, that's changed my life. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, yes, the clearing is powerful. It's fucking powerful. And sometimes you need the energetic and emotional clearing in order to actually fully receive what I'm saying about something. Yeah, like doing the tapping, for example, helps you receive the message because you're reducing the amount of cortisol in your bloodstream. You're in a state of flow. You're in a state of like almost trance sometimes when you're tapping and you're like saying these things. You're reprogramming your nervous system, your energetic system, and your brain. So it allows you to hear and receive the perception shift in a way maybe that you wouldn't be able to if I just said it. But that's why it's so beautiful. And that's why I always layer in energy work with what I'm doing, because in my life, I see that, yes, a perception shift is great, but if I can't fully embody a new belief, if I can't feel it in my body as a truth because I'm holding energetic or some kind of trauma response or something, and I'm not fully allowing myself to be the embodiment of it, if I can't feel it, I can affirm that shit as much as I fucking want, but if I don't believe it and I don't feel it and I don't have like, fuck yeah, I can definitely move forward with that new belief in my system and start taking action from a different place because of it. If I don't feel that, then it's just in the mind. For me, it's all about connecting the energetic, mental, emotional, spiritual, and the physical. You have to connect all five bodies, if you will, because that's when you become, it locks in and it becomes this integrated magic that you can actually walk into the world. You can walk out of your living room, wherever you are right now, embodying a new belief. And that, to me, that's where the life-changing shit happens. That is fucking potent and that is magic. And if you want more of it, then do click the link I'm about to drop in the comments for the sacral sessions. This is specifically, oh, actually I don't have the link here, but I will. I thought I had it in my clipboard, but I don't. I'll pop it in the title of this live stream. But the work that we're going to be doing in there, we're going to be looking at all these themes around the sacral. We're going to be looking at creativity. We're going to reclaim the word sensuality as well, because I really feel like people just think now that sensuality is all about like sex. And although that is part of it, sensuality is about the senses. It's about using all of your senses to feel life, to receive life. We're going to be looking at how can I receive. It's a huge part of what we're going to do in there. Receptivity to a sacral being is like, that's what we're here for. We're here to magnetize life, to be a certain frequency, and yes, to radiate that out, but to draw that fucking net back in and to learn how to do that and to celebrate it and be celebrated when we're fucking winning. Because when we celebrate what we've received, we allow ourselves to receive more. We know this, right? We fucking know this shit. And yet we don't allow ourselves to do it unless we're continually fucking reminded and given permission. So see the sacral sessions as 4 weeks of very intense permission to receive from life and watch your life fucking change. 4 weeks with me is a long fucking time. Let me tell you, it might not sound like long, but when you've been in my energy for 4 weeks and we're doing energy work and coaching and all of the fucking magic, bitch, shit's gonna change. So as you can see, my energy has changed already just from doing that tapping, which is fucking cool. God, I love this shit. If you're interested in the sacral sessions, either drop me a message or just wait a couple of minutes and I'm gonna pop it above this live stream. So I would love to have you in there. I hope to see you in there, and I hope you've enjoyed this today. If you have, don't forget to drop me a comment, let me know how you're feeling. Thank you for being here live. Bye.